Where are you in town? Are you in town here in Australia?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 48th Annual Nashville Film Festival. I'm Morey, and this here is Ben from the Ben and Morey Show here in town, and we're here with the director of Bloodlands, Steven, and Steven, say your last name for everybody.
Kastrisios.
There you have it.
Greek last name, Australian body.
That's it. He's from Australia. Steven, could you give us a quick synopsis of Bloodlands?
Bloodlands is about the blood feuds that happen in some parts of rural Albania, where it's sort of family revenge killings, and we're also combining that with local Albanian folklore, where a witch has come in to conspire against our heroes, our family. So we're combining modern social issues with supernatural Albanian history.
So, based in fact, and you added a supernatural element to it. It's a bit of a thriller.
Yes. Dramatic thriller, yeah.
Now, when we talk about Albanian blood feuds, are we talking about
we
something?
talk about those all the time.
And every Saturday night, I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you thinking about
Albanian blood feuds?
But are we talking about this in the? We talk about gangs in the U.S. Like it's something that exists, but it's not legal, or is this like is this something that actually happens? Yeah, it's just being sponsored in Albania.
Interesting thing about it's based this old how do I describe it's based on this thing called the Kanun of Lek, which has been around for hundreds of years, and it's the traditional rules of society before modern law came in. So in it's got rules for marriage, property rights, and basically it's illegal. I mean, modern law is there and present, and it is illegal to take part in any of these revenge killings. But Albania through the 90s was somewhat unstable, so these revenge killings sort of came back to a degree, and the government is still trying to stamp it out. So the main population centers of Albania are perfectly safe. It's not, they're not dangerous. I've been there for the last month. Perfectly safe, great tourist destination actually, because it's pretty cheap. But if you go into some rural parts, you might find people who are
blood feuding.
Yeah, last I checked, there's about 3,000 families embroiled in blood feuds, and there are different NGOs that are working to mediate these issues. So, yeah, it's a problem that people are tackling over time.
This is Hatfields and the McCoys meets Albania.
Yes.
I should have been the director.
Meets witches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about just a little bit more about the film, especially now that we've got the historical backstory, maybe some of the folkloric backstory to the film. And you did not write it, right? You inherited this script?
No, I wrote it.
You wrote it too. Exactly. That's what I said.
This was a small indie film. It was hatched at a coffee shop in Australia. I have a good Albanian drinking buddy, Dritan Albana, aka D, as we call him there. And he's an actor who's been based in Australia for the last 20 years, and he was telling me about the blood feuds, and I immediately thought, well, that's interesting. And it's been a few years since my first film, The Horseman, and since then I've written about 8 feature scripts, which was a great time, but it's a long time to be sitting in your room writing scripts, and so I was very, very eager to get out and just start shooting. So I thought, once I heard this concept, I thought, wow, that would make an interesting film, particularly if you turn it into a horror film, combine it with witches. So to answer your question about the folklore, the witch that we have there it's not a generic witch, it's specific to Albania. She's called a striga. And there are all sorts of different witches there. There's a particular type of witch that if you waste bread, she'll come in the night and maim you, So we didn't go with that one. We went with Striga.
That's called a girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what a girlfriend does to you.
Yeah.
Accurate.
So we went with Striga because it fits the backstory of what we wanted to do, and basically a Striga comes about if a woman has her children killed, and then she turns into a Striga apparently. So I combined those two ideas, the blood feuds, the Striga, and slammed together a script, knowing that it was going to be a somewhat improvised production, because my background is doing small independent kind of things. For years I was doing wedding videos, where you rock up, you're the camera, you're the sound, you're the lighting, you do the editing, the color grade, you do all of it, and it's a live event. You've got one shot to get it right. So I'm comfortable turning up to a situation and just shooting and turning it into something. So the plan was originally me and Dee were just going to go to Albania and just do this thing, super skeleton crew. But when we were there, the film is in Albanian language, and I'm not Albanian, I don't speak the language, and I've never been there.
Wow.
But Albania shares a border with Greece, and as you said, I'm Greek on my dad's side, so I knew a little bit about Albania, and Dee speaks perfect English. So I wrote the script in English, he translated it into Albanian, and most of the cast spoke English, and the crew all spoke very good English as well. So together we were able to sort of problem solve any sort of translation issues, although most of that was done before we were shooting. So yeah, within about 2.5 months after that first coffee and hearing about this concept for the first time, 2.5 months later we were in Albania getting ready to shoot. So it was this crazy improvised production, and we found a great local Albanian crew. Our DOP Leo had never even shot a short film. He'd only done music videos, but he's the son of a well-known director there, so he had a certain skill set that he could bring. So it was a very unusual improvised production, but as people have seen the film, it's come together quite well. It certainly doesn't look like a tiny little movie.
So you were with your Albanian drinking buddy, and you had an idea, and you actually capitalized on it. That's rare among drinking buddies, I think. There's a lot of talk, oh, let's start a company. Oh, I'm going to sell my car.
Yeah.
Leave my wife. But no one ever does it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think he was used to that as well. He thought we were just talking shit.
Right. But you were like, no.
Because he said, oh, yeah, next year maybe we'll go and do it. And I said, no, let's book a flight and we'll leave in 3 weeks.
Wow.
3 weeks turned into a couple of months because we had to buy all the equipment. Albania does have a film industry, but it's small, and I didn't want to go there relying on the fact that we could find all the equipment there.
Right. And you don't speak Albanian.
I don't know. Right. But it's not that hard to navigate around there.
With English? With English,
yeah. Particularly the younger people speak good English, and it's a very friendly country, actually. Part of the DNA of their culture is to be very hospitable to outsiders. So although Albania does have a complicated reputation, particularly in Europe,
right?
When you're actually there, you don't feel that at all.
That's good.
So
they're hospitable.
They're very hospitable, and it's very safe to go there. So yeah, people should go to Albania for a cheap sort of tourist destination.
And avoid the 2,000 or 3,000 families involved in blood feuds.
Well, those families will still be very nice to you, as long as you don't,
As long as you're not a member of the other family.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, how has it been received? You had a showing here on Monday night. Are people liking it? Were they scared?
How bloody is it?
Yeah.
It's more of a family drama that slowly evolves into a genre film. The guys I was sitting next to were jumping in certain parts, so I guess they were scared. We've been touring it in Europe. We've been at some big genre festivals in Europe, at Fright Fest, at BIF in Brussels, at Fantasporto in Portugal, and the response has been good. Setting up the right expectations for the film is always tricky because people hear the title Bloodlands, that it's set in the Balkans, that it's about blood feuds and witches, and people think
an immediate stereotype.
They're thinking this is going to be a total gore fest, particularly if they're familiar with my first film, which was very violent from the opening scene onwards. And the film is not any of those things. It's a slow, thoughtful family drama that's exploring social issues that, because to me, I like genre films that are grounded, that you really believe that these people are real, you're invested in them as characters, you care about them, and all of that happens before the genre stuff starts kicking off. So, and I designed the film very much influenced by European minimalist art house cinema, which not everyone is on board for. Where it's not plot driven, it's probably not even character driven, where the characters have a specific goal, like they live in LA but they got to drive to New York to visit their dying grandmother, it's not that either. It's thematically driven, so it is a challenging film in a good way, and I think audiences get a lot out of it. But you just got to set up those expectations right, because most people only watch the film once, and you don't want to waste their time.
Right.
And it's interesting when you're making a film and you're sitting in a cinema and it dawns on you just what you're asking of people when you make a film, that to clear your schedule, come and sit in a darkened room and just stare at this thing that we made
for 2 hours.
For 2 hours,
yeah.
It's especially in this day and age, where everyone's got ADD from Facebook or whatever. So, and you're seeing that with the sort of output, on Netflix and everything. There's a lot of pop horror, and Scorsese just has been talking about how cinema is dead. He just came out with Silence.
Right.
And that is a very appropriate title for that film. It's a very quiet, slow film. It doesn't have a very obvious message. You've got to sort of really think about it.
Right.
And setting up those expectations correctly is the challenge, So that's what we're trying to do now. I think that's the big challenge.
Well, I think we're just about out of time now, but you have one more screening tonight, right? What time is it?
8 o'clock tonight. If you hurry, you'll make it.
You still got plenty of time. 8 o'clock tonight. Come see Bloodlands. Stephen, thanks so much.
Thank you.